Oh my God. Hi again. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's because it's a brand new year. I don't know what is going on today, but my phone is acting cray, cray, cray. And I'm with Felipe. I don't know what's happening today, guys. I am so sorry about that, but I'm back on. We're going to see what happened. Hey, Kate. I'm having such issues today with my connection and my phone, so I'm going to try to bring back Felipe again. Hey, Delmar. Welcome back to my show. I don't know what's going on. So if we keep having technical difficulties, I may have to reschedule Felipe because he deserves a great show and he deserves a clean show. This is crazy. So I'm going to try to bring Felipe back in because we have to. Okay, let me try this again. I'm so sorry. All right, let's see what happens. It's not great. I don't know what's going on. All right. Felipe, I don't know what is happening. I am so sorry.
I know it's gotta be your Wi-Fi. So let's get into the crust of what we're doing. So happy second season.
Happy second season.
For
Thank
you.
so much.
You.
Oh, I
know. And I mean, there's lots of news. I mean, I ended the year in a big way. It was quite the surprise with the induction.
Yes. Tell us about that. So I wanted to get to that. So Y.M.C.A, right, was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame?
Well, I don't know if it was the song. I know that Linda Ronstadt and what's that Quest by, I forget the group called Quest for something.
Mm-hmm.
Like five or six groups and Village People was received one will be inducted. But I understand now the Grammys are not going to happen.
No, they're not.
The date was moved.
Yeah.
For March, and they chose March 14th. Mm-hmm. But March 14th is also the Screen Actors Guild Award, and I'm part of Screen Actors Guild AFTRA. So that's kind of strange that they would, I don't know now if it's going to be canceled indefinitely, but I think that having two award shows, you would think that all these people know each other,
right?
And they would know. Let's reschedule. I think that the American Music Awards did a great job of doing virtual performances, mm-hmm. and then some live.
Yeah.
And I think it was Kelly Clarkson that hosted, right, or something.
I believe so. Oh, A Tribe Called Quest. Thank you, Delmar.
A Tribe Called Quest. Who wrote that? Someone wrote that?
Yes, Delmar Brown. Fabulous.
Oh, hello there. Hello, and happy New Year, everyone. And so, yeah, I'm actually looking at my American Music Award over there in the cabinet. Okay. The Dusty cabinet. I turned the light on to that bad boy, and there are several other awards, prestigious in there. And I had to turn the light on because I have to do some major dusting.
So well, wait, before we get too deep into the conversation, because when you and I talked earlier, you said you definitely wanted to take a moment to just acknowledge the people that have been, first of all, affected by COVID-19 and also by the events of this week. So we just want to take a moment to honor those people and pray for those people and pray for their families and their healing in our country and our world. Yes. Thank you for that.
Yes, and I lost quite a few friends. I mean, more than I realized. A total of friends, colleagues, neighbor, people I know, and then very close, to the tune of 17 people.
Wow.
And I lost my producer in August of cancer, so it was quite the year. And then this week with what just happened, I believe it was Wednesday, because now when we really think about it, the Georgia election seems now so far away from when this thing happened, right?
Yes, but we're wearing our blue.
We're wearing our blue, and then sadly now someone else passed from that. And that's just tragic. And I think that, we as a country and we as artists and just all of us, we need to just come together and just really push back that negativity, that darkness, and just step into the light and enjoy what we have. Because it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
It is. It really is a blessing. Even I was talking with some colleagues and friends this week because I went back to my remote office on Monday. And it was I had a nice 2-week break at the end of the year, and I was like, oh, but then I was like, girl, step out of it. You're so right. Be grateful. You got more work to do, and here we are. So just saying, of course, not discounting my feelings and my fatigue and all the other stuff, but I'm so grateful that I have a job to return to and continue creating the art that I've been afforded the platform to do. So. But speaking of Wednesday, yes, that was an awful day in our nation's history, but it was also the birthday of Kathy Sledge. So yeah. Speaking of birthdays, your birthday is coming up on Tuesday.
Oh, Kathy's a Capricorn as well?
She is.
Wow, I've worked with her also.
Capricorns.
She's lovely. She's lovely. Yeah, I've got another big one. I'm blessed to come up with another one on Tuesday. The big 6-7.
Yes.
And again, it's just I'm blessed to just to be going into it, and it's not like I want anything more than health and happiness. Because if you've got that, you have everything. You're rich.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, Breakbeat Lou. Oh my God, it's such a great crowd today. So
hello, everybody.
Felipe
Happy
Rose.
Friday. Thank God. No, I said that earlier to you, and I said it on a video when I posted, and I said, thank God it's Friday, and I meant that from this week, like, thank God we can get out of this week,
Yes. So happy early birthday to you, Felipe.
Thank you.
We're talking. And so the purpose of today's show, both of us are dancers first, singers later in our careers, but singer and dancers. And we were talking about doing this show in honor of, well, number one, we lost an amazing artist last month, I guess, Anne Ranking. Beautiful, incredible actress, dancer, triple threat, singer, jazz, diva, Bob Fosse, films, all that jazz. I mean, just so Chicago, theater, Broadway divine, Tony Award winning, all of the above. And so our show today, because Felipe was also part of what is now a cult classic film, Can't Stop the Music. And so before we get into all the films, just because weren't able to save our previous interview, can you just explain to the kids how you came into dance originally?
Well, dancing came through my mother, and my Puerto Rican mother. And when she left Puerto Rico when she was 7 years old, she left by boat. She grew up in New York. She ran the streets with her homegirls, Italian and Black and Jewish sisters. And in high school, she started cutting class, and she would go off to dance and party at the Copacabana, where she then auditioned. That's how she actually met my father, who, as a Native American, was relocated by trade. And she told me that he came down on a steel girder when she was on her way to her audition at the original Copacabana.
Yeah.
So growing up, I had the lights, and she did get her job, and she had her billboard in Times Square, where it was Miss Schaefer for the month. I think it was July or something. That was a beer that's no longer around. But I do remember as a small baby that my mother had, like, everybody would just come after the club with our friend Olga San Juan, who was a very close friend of Carmen Miranda, and the likes of people like Mongo Santa Maria and Bobby Capó and the jazz Miles J. All these amazing artists and dancers, they would come and party at the house. And of course, I'm like, 4 years old, 4 years old, hiding under the table in the living room and leaning up like this and grabbing the cocktails. And there were many times they found me passed out under the table. But my mother partied, and so I grew up with the love of dance and music, as a child. And then after high school, I was really, okay, am I going to go I went to a 2-year business school, and I said, this is not who I am. I want to be in the arts. And I told my mother what I wanted to do, and she was like, no, you need a real job. That's not a real job. And then she was disgruntled by the fact that her mother, Pentecostal grandmother, my grandmother, talked her out of continuing her dance career. So
Mm.
she felt that for me, she didn't want me to be let down with life if things didn't go the way I want. But you know, if you've got that dream and you have that hope in your heart and it's alive, you know, you have to go with it, because you know, if you let the opportunity go by and escape and go away, you'll never be able to catch that star and put it in your
Yes.
pocket. So I went and I auditioned, started taking dance classes, and I auditioned in New York for the Pachal Guzman Downtown Ballet. It was the second chapter of the Puerto Rico Ballet. And
Mm-hmm.
so I stayed. I got a scholarship. For me, I thought, and you know well, scholarships, you know, you think, oh my God, it's, you know, I made it. But it's not really, you know, you just get free classes and then you get to push a broom to clean the school and all that.
Yeah.
But I stayed with them for 4 years and ended up the year before I left working in a performance of choreographed by Pachal Guzman. I don't even know if he's even alive, you know, but
Mm.
he casted me in the ballet of the late Puerto Rican poetess, Julia Burgos, and I'm
Mm.
not forget about what the piece was called, the ballet. But I was the desire for self-destruction, and we played at Alice Tully Hall for four
Yes.
nights. 4 nights, I got a cute mention in the New York Post, and I thought, oh my God, okay, this I really like, and so I stayed with it. And after I left in January of 1977, a month later, started dancing in a club in New York City, like a late night backroom club where they only had dancers and there were all these activities going on. As a
Yeah.
dancer, you could not take part in any of those activities, but you were hired just so they could look up at. So I was half naked with my loincloth and my long hair and moccasins and bells, and they just never saw anything like that. I would just appear like an apparition. And a
Mm.
month later, I met the producer, Jacque Morali.
Right.
And then he told me this crazy concept about a group that he wanted to put together because he had the Ritchie family.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that, you know, he's either drunk or on drugs or he wants to pick me up. And
Yes.
at 2021, you know, I was all that. You
Okay.
know,
Yes, you
I
were.
know you're not gonna just tell me that you're gonna do A, B, C, and D. So he would see me in different clubs. And
Right.
back then, when we as dancers, you know, our outfits were our leg warmers around our ankles. You know, you either wore your skirt over that, or your workout pants, or your
Mm-hmm.
leotards. And so I would leave the leotard part on with jeans and my fringe jacket, and I would braid my hair, and
Yeah.
I would walk the village, like New York, where I lived on 16th Street. I would walk around like that, dressing in my tribal gear, and being biracial. People just in the village, they never really gave it two thoughts. But he would see me at different clubs, and then he kept approaching me about the concept. So then I
Mm.
finally said, okay, something must be up with this guy. And basically, what that base in life tells you is that you have to be at the right place at the right time. And I
Yes.
said, you know, there's something to this concept that he's talking about. So I went to this tiny little office on the east side, and there I met his a partner, the executive producer, and the late Jacque Morali told me about the concept where there was a drawing of myself in the middle, in my gear, and then other characters, like a cowboy, a construction worker, a soldier. And I really thought it was really stupid. I thought it was a stupid idea. I didn't tell him that.
And it changed your life.
And you know, I figured, okay, before I was on the east side with like other people that were part of more of a prestigious theatrical background, and you know, I would see at parties David Frost with who played Julia, what was her name? Diane Carroll, because they were an item, and other various people in the more serious tone of the arts. So for me, you know, like my road would have gone one way or the other. You know,
Yes.
I thought, okay, let me give this disco thing because disco was hot anyway back in the day. And
Yes.
so the rest is history. And I think the movie that we did is now a cult
It
movie.
is. It really is. So I
Have
was,
you seen it?
years ago, but
Oh,
probably
okay.
and
Yeah,
before I knew you. So now I want to go back and
yeah.
watch it now that I know you.
So our love for films and
Yeah.
dance moments in film. Can't Stop the Music was choreographed by Arlene Phillips. Now, if you remember back in those days, the Dr. Pepper commercials, where it was just cut up in pieces and segments of dance. That's what she did and
Right.
choreographed the musical number of the milkshake where we were all in white.
Oh,
And
wow.
and my outfit, my costume was made by the late Leonie Aldridge, the Broadway costumer,
Mm-hmm.
Tony Award-winning costume designer, and she made the white feathers and in fact the pink feathers. So they're
Yes,
white.
there you are.
And
Get
that
it.
was heavy it weighed a ton because that headdress, those are swan feathers. And
Mm.
so, and the moccasins, they had to spray them on me once I got in to mold my foot to them
Oh,
because,
wow.
yeah, they were patent leather and they were really,
Okay.
and they were wedgies. They were a wedge shoe. They were not a flat
For
shoe,
what,
a
Gio?
flat moccasin.
I love it.
They gave me a little height, you know.
Of course.
Um, and Valerie Perrine was in the movie, and it was directed by Nancy Walker. That was really strange.
Yeah.
That situation.
Well,
And
actually, I
Bruce Jenner was in the movie, who is
right.
now Caitlyn Jenner. Is that
Exactly. And I looked up Nancy Walker, and just to find out a little bit more about her, the director of the film, she's actually from Philadelphia, my home city. And that movie, your movie with her, was her first feature film debut. And prior to that, she had been acting and everything else. She played Rhoda's mom on the spinoff from the Mary Tyler Moore Show and all of this. And, she went on to do other Broadway things, but Can't Stop the Music was her first feature.
And
Right.
it was her first feature, and it was actually the movie that really killed the career of the group. But by then, the group had been so saturated in the media. We had been on every pop show, Tim Conway, 7 American Bandstands. I don't know how many Merv Griffins, like 22 times. We
Yeah.
were just on TV so much that it
Yeah.
was just overkill. And
Yeah.
then the movie came in very late. And
Mm-hmm.
then as the movie was being filmed in New York, then
Mm-hmm.
that summer in Kaminsky Park, they were burning disco records
Oh,
because the rock industry did not like the whole situation with disco, and they thought it was an aberration, and they were throwing disco records in the field, burning them.
mhm.
So the movie actually came out during against all odds. Against all odds of the crumbling of Casablanca Records when Donna Summer left and Giorgio
Mhm.
Moroder, they sued the Casablanca and Neil Bogart. So disco was crumbling. The label was like, we got stuck with the double album of the film, and then the live and sleazy album, which was a live album and studio album. So we had 2 albums under the belt, and everything just like we were flying here, and then we just started.
Wow.
But the beauty about the concept and the group was that when we broke in Europe and became very successful, with the live show and performing, and the music was selling, we were able. That's in the village before the group.
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
very careful to put a blanket, a native blanket on the car, so I don't want to smudge it up. But we were lucky that we were able to, access a lot of the countries around the world, so that when disco died in the United States, we then kept disco going all around the world. So
Yeah.
we continued touring for many, many years after that.
Yes. And you're
So
still
Can't Stop the
performing.
Music was that one film with music in it, the musical number. But I think my top 5 films, as we were talking about, and I started doing several research on several things, and then recently I saw Stormy Weather, and
Mm.
I remember that the Nicholas brothers, Fayard and Howard Nicholas, known as the Nicholas brothers, they were a pair of tap dancing fools. They were crazy. They were insane. They would jump and dance on tables, tap dancing, choreograph together. They would jump off and land in splits. So they were just amazing, and they were, you know, a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood at that time. And they were in many, many movies.
Oh, yeah.
So when I saw them as a kid, and not just recently watching Stormy Weather with Lena Horne in it, and a few other people, other dancers like Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire thought that they were the world's greatest dancers. You know, and not to take anything away from Fred and Ginger, but in that capacity, in that situation, the better dancer, when you paired Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, she was the better dancer because she danced in heels backwards.
Okay, get it.
And then of course you also had what was Eleanor Powell, who just did pirouettes like spot on, an amazing dancer as well.
Can we go back to Stormy Weather? I mean, the Nicholas brothers, because, you know, film back then isn't what it is now with all the camera cuts, angle, blah, 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 blah. When they did their scenes, these are most often shot in one take.
One or two takes, yep.
Not you mess up, cut, take a break, one take. And usually those one takes is what ended up in the final film.
And they're right there on that still that you're showing right now. They are actually, from the stage, they jump on a piano.
Yes.
And that's the Cab Calloway Orchestra.
Exactly. You better come on now. Talk about it. Cab
Oh no, I mean, but you know, it was like they would dance on any surface that they could get. You know, Bill Robinson, Bojangles, Bill Robinson, another amazing dancer who actually did. I remember now, I'm going through this film as to who was in it, and when I realized that he was in it, I also realized that he had also, in his later years, he danced with Shirley Temple when they did that tap dance up the steps. So he was just another extraordinary actor and dancer that in early films, you know, captivated not only black audiences, but white audiences as well. And they loved him. He was very, very, very well loved.
And for Stormy Weather, we also have to call out, of course, Catherine Dunham, you know, and the amazing...
The choreographer. Yeah.
Catherine Dunham. Okay, just beautiful. What was one of the other ones we talked about? So you mentioned...
Well, I then made my list, my top 5 list, and then, you know, I remember my mother introducing me to West Side Story. With Stephen Sondheim and Leonard Bernstein, the music and the lyrics by him. And the amazing part of that moment as a kid, watching the movie, because my mother, she loved, God bless her, rest her soul in peace, and she loved, you know, she was fascinated by, you know, Marilyn Monroe, Elizabeth Taylor, but she loved the musicals. And when she said, we're going to watch this movie that's coming on television, and in fact, she took me to see West Side Story. When we were leaving the theater, she told me that the actress that was playing Maria, she wasn't Puerto Rican. And I kind of looked up at her like,
oh, right.
What is it mean? And she said, well, she's, you know, she's playing a Latina.
Yeah.
But she's not a Latina.
Right.
And, you know, I, you know, to me, it didn't matter one way or the other. As a child, children never really look at color. They embrace everything in life. It's what they're taught later and what to differentiate. But the thing about the chemistry with the gentleman that played, what was it, the guy opposite her, Bernardo, was George Chaklis.
Right.
And he was terrific.
Well, his dance scene with Rita Moreno, America, I mean, everything.
Well, Rita Moreno, that was the sister, Maria's sister, Natalie Wood's sister. That rooftop number was brilliant. Was brilliant. And Chita, you know, she actually came up at the same time as Chita Rivera.
Right.
But I think that Hollywood chose, you know, the Hollywood machine, they always went for who's prettier, who's not, you know.
The only one.
Oh, right. We only need one because
Right.
you know Tina Rivera. Her features are made. She's a gorgeous, gorgeous dancer, gorgeous woman, and her. And in this movie, Sweet Charity, she had more of a leading role with Shirley
Paula
MacLaine
Kelly.
and Paula Kelly.
Paula Kelly.
That rooftop number with the three of them again. Then the choreographer in
Oh,
in
she,
in in uh Sweet Charity, I believe it was Bob Fosse.
yeah, Bob Fosse. Exactly,
Yes,
Angela. Angela just said Cheetah and Rita. Cheetah and Rita. Yes, we're both
yeah,
gorgeous.
Bob Fosse was the choreographer, but I mean he had help with some of the other numbers in that
Right.
as well. And
Mm-hmm.
then of course all that jazz, which I absolutely love.
Oh, baby, come
And there
on.
we go, and there we go again. I remember we both posted her picture on Instagram, on social media at the
Oh,
same time. And
oh,
that's when we started talking about our love for not only this woman
yes,
who really just had Broadway in the palm of her hand, but
yes.
she crossed over into film, which again, if you're lucky to get that to cross over like that, and she
Mm-hmm.
did, she was just wonderful. So when the movie came out, I mean, look at her. Look at that pose with a broken wrist. I mean, her dancing was spectacular. And she was a muse, his muse, was
Oh,
she?
absolutely, absolutely. And
And he
going
was
back,
married to, what was his wife's name?
Gwen
The other
Verdon,
dance.
damn Yankees.
Who?
Gwen Verdon.
But they were still together.
Yes, Bob Fosse. Bob Fosse was a player. Okay, we all know
What?
that.
Well, I mean, he had the brilliance of his mind when he was working. What I've heard with other people that knew him and worked with him, because I thought I was actually going to go and work on Broadway,
Mm-hmm.
and friends of mine like Andre DeShields, that was
Yes.
the original Wizard in the Wiz. His
Mm-hmm.
birthday's on my birthday,
Yeah.
and on the 12th, and he was basically telling me one time that Bob Fosse's mind was so amazing, but everything was just so, it was one random, one crazy thought after another. But that was the brilliance of the mind of
Mm-hmm.
a man that thought on all those levels altogether.
Yeah, but just like
Like,
someone just posted, he was also inspired by other Black dancers.
guess what?
Absolutely. I mean, Catherine Dunham, Tally Beatty, Louis Johnson back in the Alvin himself. I mean, they were all swirling around at the same time. But as we know, who gets the press? Who gets the push? So
Right.
yeah, you
And
know,
prior to roll back a little bit, while I was with the dance company and I had those breaks, I would then take classes like with Lisa Bradley from Joffrey, and
mm,
I would go to the Heinz Hatchet Dance School, Phil
yeah,
Black. I would just take. I studied Horton technique. One great choreographer who many people may not know who he is Louis Falco, and
yeah.
I wanted to dance and be in his company so bad, but that opportunity never came to be. But we met in the early '80s, and by then I was with the group,
Mm-hmm.
with Village People, and he just said, it just wasn't your time to be with me.
Mm.
He was just another beautiful choreographer.
Yeah. It was interesting. My first year with Alvin Ailey, because he did several works for Alvin Ailey, but my first year in 1991, he had already passed on by then. But one of the first ballets that I originated a role in was Escargot by Louis Falco. And so I literally just being like, it's my first year and I'm in a new ballet already. I mean, it was incredible.
Now he choreographed that, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you worked with him? Was he with you?
No, he had already passed on by then, I believe. But
Oh, okay. I see. They took his
well, yeah, one
work
of
and made it,
the came in and taught
and
it to us.
then reinterpreted,
Yeah,
reimagined. Was it
right.
reimagined or was it exactly the choreographer, the
Exactly the
choreography?
choreography. Yeah. Basically they call it like a restaging or remounting of a former work. But
Right now, because we were talking about the Wiz and
yes.
that went to films with with Diana Ross. I felt that Stephanie should have been in the movie, but you caused quite the scandal when you guys brought the Wiz back to the return on stage. How many years ago was that?
Was it a scandal? What is a scandal?
It was a scandal because it was just insane, because the one that got all the press was Andre, because he slipped back into that white jumpsuit, bell bottom with the white cape, and he came out, so you wanted to see the Wizard.
Andre was snatched.
And the media, like newspapers and magazines and the news, they just broke. They're like, he broke, like everything stopped.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Who was on Broadway, and then the movie gets translated to film, the musical, and then he comes back, and no one had seen him in a while. He had been like really tucked away, and then he made that appearance on the summer stage when they did The Wiz, and everybody just kept saying, this man that is got slipped back in with that high school waistline.
Okay.
Into that jumpsuit again.
Well, so just to give you a little bit of context, so if you're just joining us, thank you again. We had earlier technical craziness, but here we are. It was going great. But I'm with the great Felipe Rose, and we're talking music and dance and movie musicals and great dance scenes. And we just got to The Wiz, and as we know, The Wiz, the movie, was a completely different beast than the actual musical on Broadway, with Diana Ross in the movie and everything else. And the choreographer for the movie actually was the great Louis Johnson, who we just lost this past year at 90 years old.
I know.
Another
saw that.
But the original choreographer, as we know, of The Wiz was the incredible, my friend, George Faison, who says hello to you, Felipe.
Love him.
And actually, so just a little side note for promotion, I interviewed George Faison this past summer on the 45th anniversary of the show. And we talked about our production in Central Park back in 2015 when it was the 40th anniversary. And we had Dee Bridgewater, we had Felicia Rashad. I mean, it really was one of the most triumphant moments of my time as a curator. And
it was because I was touring and I read about it. I read about it, and I spoke to a few friends that attended Summer Stage to catch that performance.
Yeah, it was really something else. But as we know, the movie The Wiz, Brand New Day, those scenes were unbelievable. The crowd, Michael Jackson, first of all, Michael Jackson, what an amazing dancer. What an amazing dancer.
We worked together. They actually have a crazy photo of all of us with Jane Fonda, Valerie Perrine, all of us, and Michael. And we did a concert for Jane Fonda at the time when she was married to Tom Hayden. And he had just that really sweet, low voice, very quiet. And and it took me a while to come out of the dressing room while everyone's waiting for this crazy looking photo that every now and then pops up like a Motley Crue photograph. And when I walked into the room, everyone looked at me and I was like, headdress on and all that. And he said, just doing it. You're so tall. I said, no, this is height. This is nothing but feathers. Let's do this damn picture.
Yes.
It was very sweet.
Going back a little bit further, we talked about, of course, one of my favorite film dancers, who I also grew up watching, of course, Gene Kelly. Come on.
Dancing in the Rain. Dancing in the Rain. That was another number that when they shot that dance number, that was pretty like straight through.
Yeah.
They didn't cut that. Right, they didn't cut that. That was like an action, and he went down that street with the rain, and he jumped on that lamppost. He jumped over the fire hydrant. He jumped in and out off the sidewalk. I mean, as a kid, I would watch the film every time it would come on TV, and I would stand in front of the television, and I would imitate the dance steps. And my mother would say, "Get out of the way! I want to see this." But if you love dance when you're young as a kid, it just will never go away.
But do you think there's a correlation here too when we talk about the fact that they said it was one take and he was sick with a cold and still killed it? Exactly. I mean, thank you, Angela.
That's what I heard. I heard something like that. That he was.
Think about what we just said about Gene Kelly, all of these amazing legends, the Nicholas brothers, getting this in there in one take, and maybe they had to do it multiple takes, but all the way through. And when I think about, you know, old albums, old music stars, recording stars, there wasn't cut and paste, baby. You got it in one take, or you didn't get it.
There was no auto tune. You had to get that, get those notes right. What key are we in? Let's go over this. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8, and we do it like this, and we harmonize. Did it twice. Let's go in. Sounds good. Let's get it before someone goes off pitch or whatever. And so, and this, what is this?
This is
that I'm looking at.
This was like some fantasy moment that he had with Sid Charisse. You can't see her there. Oh, it's too small. But she was another amazing dancer, Sid Charisse. Oh my God.
Oh, Sid Charisse, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And Leslie Caron. I mean, just American in Paris. I mean, just all of these divas. Well, you mentioned the studio earlier. We're going to move forward a little bit now. White Nights. Can we talk about White Nights?
Okay, so White Nights, that's another one of my favorite films because it has the great Mikhail Baryshnikov, and yet another great American dancer, Gregory Hines, another amazing tap dancer that defied gravity. And the two, well, they were and for the 70s, they were the two greatest male dancers of the late 20th century on that same floor when they were filming that. And you know, they were high-powered, high-kicking. You know, they did ballet, tap, and jazz all in one number.
Yes.
And the thing about the film was that they were spies. You know, they were like what I love about musicals and when films like that either the writing or the dialogue or where's the storyline going, it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Let's just throw a musical number. Let's just throw a musical number in there.
Yeah, and don't forget, like, the amazing Isabella Rossellini was in this. I mean, it was just such a great.
And I believe that he was a police officer.
Who, Gregory Hines?
I'd have to watch it again. You know, but the thing is that when you go back to those two, in fact, there was talk of them being put back together to work and continue doing more movies together.
Really?
But again, the opportunity never came back, or probably the right script didn't come along. But they're two men dancing together. People. You know, I heard that the energy on the stage just left people that when they cut, people were still sitting there, just watching them, you know, out of breath because they danced hard.
Oh yeah.
They was just doing light dancing like Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly because Gene was very graceful as well. You know, especially in American in Paris. So you know that was one of my favorite movies with two male dancers,
which I absolutely loved.
And well, you know, Baryshnikov, you know, he was such a big star, and you know, he really, once he landed here in America, he really opened himself up to so much. Besides doing The Turning Point, that other film, great film by Herbert Ross, I think.
Herbert Ross with Anne Bancroft.
Shirley MacLaine.
When they walked out and reconsidered, they slapped the hell out of each other. I forgot that they were. Oh, that was good.
But okay, so going back on that though, his work with Alvin Ailey was amazing because for those of you that don't know, The Turning Point, I think that was in the late 70s as well. But there's a scene in the movie where the ingenue.
Was it the 80s? Maybe 80s.
Yeah, Leslie Brown plays the young baby ballerina, and there is a scene that, you know, they're working on a solo for her, and it's choreographed by, you know, some young diva in the quote unquote dance company, which I think was supposed to replicate American Ballet Theater, but the solo that she actually ends up doing at the end of the movie is Vortex from Alvin Ailey's The River, right? And so this is all that backstory. So Alvin Ailey and Baryshnikov's, you know, journey together continue because he ended up subsequently choreographing a tour de force celebratory duet for Barishnikov, Mikhail, and Judith Jamison, which was Pas de
Oh,
Deux.
please, a national treasure. Judith, Dame Judith.
Okay, Miss Judith,
I
honey.
saw her at a cocktail party back in the day, and George Faison was there with Valerie Simpson and Nick and Val and Roberta Flack, a lot of people, and I so much wanted to walk across the room to just kiss her hand, but I was,
Aw.
you know, and that's what happens when I see other celebrities. I don't, and back then, I would not, I just didn't want to interrupt. It was like she would float. Some people walk,
Yeah.
Dame Judith just glides across. You know,
She does. She does.
Carmen de la Vela.
Oh, Carmen
Jeffrey.
DeLavala. And they're all just so gracious and wonderful people. I mean, when you think of divas, I don't think of divas as like these bitchy, horrible people that you don't want to ever be around. When I think of divas, I think of legends that are so encompassing and gracious and have a larger than life humanity and spirit. Not somebody that's going to like beat you down, talk about you, kick you to the curb. That to me is not a diva.
Well, that's not, I don't see, yeah, I don't see that the definition of diva the way it's used around today. I don't really even think about it. It doesn't equate. There's nothing in my mind that is neither good or bad, because the diva that I remember that my mother loved was Maria Callas. And that's where the word came from her. They called her the diva.
Yeah.
You know, and so diva, when they say that today, and they do say it in a negative connotation, and I don't really, you know, because, you know, I would never dare say anything about Beyonce on social media, because that beehive will come and sting me to the point and sting me away. You know,
There are no jokes.
but there are divas like Mariah Carey's a diva, you know, and but people use it so loosely. But that was really an operatic term that was used back then. Yeah. But the great female dancers like Dame Judith and Carmen, that you know, and even Paula Kelly, because Paula Kelly, she was a threat in her back in the day. Yeah. And Chita Rivera, I've seen her in several musical numbers about plays on Broadway. Kiss of the Spider Woman. I think she was in that.
Yes. And Chita is still out there dancing and performing. Okay.
Yeah, and I saw her then. I went to see her in the rink with Liza Minnelli, and that's another hard dancing diva.
Cabaret.
That's another young, for her time. And I believe that Cabaret, who was the choreographer in that?
Bob Fosse.
But,
yeah, baby.
You know, that number with the chair. And that's where, when you see after that, there are many other female singers, and they do the chair routine and the chair number and all that. And it always takes me back to that number that she did on the stage with the chair, because there was nothing like it. I mean, she was stunning. She was amazing at that.
Yeah. And so these weren't particularly, you know, movie musicals in terms of they were singing or anything, but I'm going to come a little bit more to the future now with, oh, that's so tiny. You can't really see it, but okay, Dirty Dancing. I mean, Jennifer Grey, okay, beautiful, whatever. But Patrick Swayze, let's be clear, Patrick Swayze was a trained ballet dancer.
Be clear.
Yeah.
Be clear about it.
The late, beautiful Patrick Swayze.
And a very sweet guy. We met him in Los Angeles. I forget what we were doing, and we met him, and just gracious.
Yes.
Very gracious. And that when that movie came out, I mean, I'm still very good friends with Frankie Previn. He lives down there. Frankie won an Oscar for The Time of My Life. He wrote that song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, you know, like every time I see him, it's interesting. I think of the movie. And you have to, if you know him. But that scene was quite spectacular. she literally ran down that aisle, and they said they only did 3 takes.
Really?
So Frankie told me they only did 3 takes, but she did, you know, they were dry runs and they were ready now to shoot, and that was the 3rd time, and she threw herself up in the air, and he caught her.
Oh, wow.
He held her. But the thing is that when you're doing that type of dancing and with a partner dancing, the male's diaphragm has to be solid.
Oh, yeah.
You can't have, you know, your stomach muscles and diaphragm has to be tight. Exactly.
So tight. Okay, and just for fun, just for my own little fun moments in movies, and these are more fun than anything, but like, oh, can you see this? Kids and Play, House Party.
I couldn't believe I was looking at the list of movies and I saw that, and you know, honestly, that's the step that they do. They came back on TikTok. But that step that they do with the knee to the knee and double knee, that came back on TikTok big time when everyone was in lockdown.
I mean, social dance is how, you know, cultures, I mean, from BC era, dance is how people communicated. This is how families come together. This is how people celebrate. Dance, you don't have to say nothing. You ain't got to say nothing. You're just going to move together.
Every Madea movie, they always got to do the electric slide.
Thank you.
You know, and I've gone to parties. I will admit, I testify that, you know, they will play something and I get up there and I start the electric slide. And people just jump in, and next thing you know, it's like, and no one's sitting down. Everybody, and those types of dances, there were people joined together, like even Y.M.C.A. As silly as that looks, and the song actually, early in 2020, right before COVID happened, Y.M.C.A. was inducted into the Library of Congress forever, and just like this dance and the electric slide in films, you know, and when I say the numbers that people can do together, they stand the test of time.
Yes, absolutely. And so I got one for you. Hold on, kids.
I got one last one from me, but okay.
How about school days? Okay, Spike Lee, School Days, honey. Good hair. What was that? See? So this
No, I remember that. I enjoyed that as well.
Yes.
I enjoy that as well. And then, of course, a very good friend of mine, and we're still friends to this very day, Denny Terrio, with Saturday Night Fever.
Yes. Oh, wait. Speaking of Saturday Night,
that movie came out in 1977 when the group came out. So imagine we came out late going into disco.
Yes.
Okay? Right. That movie came out in 1977. And basically, John Travolta, that number, first of all, when the movie opens and he's walking down the street with Staying Alive, and he's holding a can of paint. He's walking down with his beautiful jacket and pants and little jacket and his shoes, and he's doing that strut. That's forever etched in our minds. And even the dance in the club.
Yeah.
And then when you really think about the storyline, it was a bit dark, you know, because there was like, you know, the situation where the girl was raped in the car and all that. So, you know, it wasn't really all that lighthearted. They had a dark moment to it. Right. But that's, I think, that's what made it really plausibly real, because stuff like that was really going on in clubs after hours.
Right. And then, wait a minute. So there was Saturday Night Fever, but then, wait, okay. And then he snatched it up for Staying Alive, honey. He was like, wait.
And now that's when I believe that's when he truly became the dancer.
Yeah.
And but the body, like, he worked really hard for that. He did like his grand jetés, you know. I was known in the group for my double and triple pirouettes, going into a full split. I think you saw some of that when I was working on stage with the guys. But this with John, this was amazing to just watch him do that. And I believe the actress that danced with him was Cynthia Rhodes.
Cynthia Rose was one, but also you can't really see her because I'm in the way. But Finola Hughes was the diva in the red. I'll make it small.
Oh, right.
But
Okay.
she's an actress. She was also on like soap operas, like All My Children, I think, and General Hospital. Yes, let's talk about Tap, the movie, Sammy Davis. I mean, there's just so many, amazing artists. And even though Jennifer Beals actually wasn't the dancer in Flashdance, her body double and amazing dancer was the French dancer Marine Jahan.
Marie, yes.
Okay, Miss Marine, honey, did all the turns and them leaps and splits. But this movie was so influential to so many people. That water scene in the club.
It defined the era back then, you know, and that's what dancers would wear with their leotards and the cut-down sweatshirt.
A little bit today, but it didn't come
Very danniGeeLive. Very danniGeeLive. Well, I know that we don't have a lot of time left, but I think that this is a great way to kick off your second season with to go back through your roster and bring everyone back, and then each person that you interview, like myself, you will get, what's their favorite movie. Because, I mean, with dance in films, because there are so many through the decades that it is just going to be a joy to watch your show and to then go down memory lane with this.
Yeah. But wait a minute. Wait. I just rewatched this on Christmas Eve night, which was, okay, Coming to America, honey. Okay.
I saw it.
Paula Abdul, and that choreography was everything.
That's not Paula.
No, that's not Paula Abdul, but she choreographed this scene.
She choreographed that because when they come down, and they're like, she's your queen. They come down and they did full splits and everything. It was like, oh my God, this was something. Now,
I did not wait for part 2.
Didn't they do a big dance number in Michael Jackson's Remember the Time?
Remember the Time, and somebody else posted Thriller. Thriller, absolutely. Thriller was iconic.
You can't touch it. It was also MTV. It was actually the premiere was worldwide. It was epic because I remember rushing to my half sister's house on the east side, and she was throwing a big party because they were debuting on MTV the video, which was like, one of the longest videos. What, like 20 minutes or something?
It was long, yeah.
And I kept calling downtown Julie Brown, Wubba Wubba Wubba, and we're still very good friends. Yeah. And she's on Sirius XM 90s on 90s, but she films it from her home in Italy. She tapes it, but the thing is, she kept saying, I'm on my way, and it was like back then we had beepers. We had a big old cell phone. And so I remember that just, everyone had to hush because Thriller came on, and it was like, I had never seen anything like it. It was just sensational. And once again, Michael, for being a vocalist, he never did take any dance lessons. He was a natural. And that's a gift.
Yes.
That's a gift.
Thriller was Michael Peters' choreography. I know Bad was.
Michael Peters. And another great choreographer that we must remember before we leave tonight with Chorus Line is Michael Bennett.
Yes, absolutely.
Because Chorus Line really changed Broadway in the capacity of, the story of a gypsy. The story of what a dancer's life is like. And when I saw that, I was in love with the arts and with dance more than ever.
Oh my God, me too.
Yeah. So I'm just really blessed and honored that I had that, like yourself, that we had that opportunity in life to really go and make our mark in that young time in our lives.
Right.
Because you'll never get that back. That's what I was saying earlier. If you let go of that opportunity and you don't just hitch onto that star and you say, oh, I'll do it next time. No. It'll never happen.
I mean, I think this year, again, keeping it light and joyful and in the spirit of all of this, if this year has taught us nothing else, it is to grab on to your passion and run with it. We don't have time. We don't have time.
We don't, and while we have been talking about, Broadway, and, I made a few donations to Broadway Cares and what have you, just the fact that the segment of this industry was completely just forgotten.
Yeah.
And all of these people that work like Broadway, all the businesses, everything like that whole situation is completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
The shows that were going to open, the shows that were opening and had to close, the shows that were already long running, because if you know more or less, you're in a show and you kind of know, okay, this we're taking this as long as they could go, and when it's time to start getting ready to look for the next job and set up the next audition, but no one had time.
Yeah.
No one had time.
Yeah.
And when you talk about, that it's not just the actors and the singers and the orchestra and musicians, but the people in the theater, even the people, just to get the programming handed to you and have someone walk you to your seat.
Right.
Like, where does that happen, Right. And so that's gone.
Yeah.
Those people at the box office, that whole situation, it is just so sad. And I know that Broadway will come back. And I made a vow. I promised my friend Keith Price that when Broadway opens up, I told him, you find a show and I will buy the tickets and we will be going. And he started, he was like. Because I want that's going to be the first thing I want to support.
Me too, absolutely. Live
and finally get to the summer stage.
I know,
because I did receive many of your invitations, but I was touring.
Yeah, we'll get there. I mean, it's still wait and see. We got to see what's happening with the treatments, the cases, all of it. So
yeah, and so once again, Danny, I just want to say to you that not because I was able to watch every Friday, but there were some Fridays when I did. But now that it's on YouTube, like I saved the one with you and George Faison, I believe that that what you created, and I feel that what you created just because you were figuring yourself out while the situation was going down, and what were you going to do? I had just retired. I mean, I went into retirement, and even though I put out a single in 2018 and won my 5th Native American Music Award, and then was invited to do the Ultimate Disco Cruise in February of 2020, when I returned, I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna make my show look bigger, longer, and I'm gonna get back to work. And then the pandemic happened.
Oh.
So then I was at home going, okay, well, I can just stay in retirement, but one in the arts never retires.
No.
You have that tickle and that passion. Mm-hmm. So I am working on various things at home and various projects that are in development, but because of where I am in life, I'm now more pragmatic about it. Sure. Because when I execute, it's going to be flawless. I'm going to be in the recording studio on my birthday. What a great way to celebrate my birthday.
Yes.
To be in the recording studio with 2 of my favorite producers and songwriters. And so I just want to say to you again that what you created with this live stream on Instagram, it's just great where you just keep the community alive. You just keep everyone that lives this world, that they're there. They're there, they're being talked about, and that the dance is still alive, because everyone has been dancing at home.
Okay. In their living rooms, in their bedrooms, in their kitchens, okay?
You're one that I've seen you just when there was no show. You're one that you just have your mask on at home, playing to some, some fabulous song, and you're having your drink, or you're just like, you're jamming, and I'm like looking, going, okay, she is just having a good time.
Yes.
Now to encapsulate and end this, because I was thinking about, because of what happened on Wednesday, I was like saying, so what songs were popular when I was growing up? Mm-hmm. And I started looking around, and I have to laugh in a way, because it's ironic that Gil Scott-Heron's song, "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised."
Oh,
I said,
right.
excuse me, it was.
Well, let's be clear. That wasn't a revolution.
No,
But
no. But I mean,
I know what you
just the fact that the song was recorded at a time
mean.
where there was a lot of, the problems that the cultural and problems that were happening in the ghetto, and he was
Yeah,
a really amazing songwriter that he wrote about the plight of,
absolutely.
he wrote In the Bottle,
Yeah.
and I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
he was an amazing songwriter. But I mean, I just said, okay, I have to find a song, so I posted it briefly. I posted it briefly on Facebook, and a friend of mine, this brother, he jumped on and he said, "Felipe, you're incorrigible."
Oh,
He said, I don't know if I want to hear the song right now. So I took it down.
yes. I
I
actually
took
got
it
to meet Gil Scott-Heron once before he passed. He came back and played Summer Stage. I can't recall what year that was right now, but it was such an amazing show. He did 2 shows with us that year. I want to say 2013. Maybe I could be wrong with the date, but he did a show with us in Harlem and also in Central Park, and it was just
I,
unbelievable.
I forgot one other movie that we talked about, which was Funny Lady, in
Oh,
the musical number Happy Days, where the Alvin Ailey Company comes up the staircase
yes.
with these like sinewy hard bodies, and she had the skull cap, beaded skull cap, with this dress where she looks half naked.
Oh,
And I can't find that number. It's not on YouTube. I mean, you
it
hear the
was not
song, you only
relevant.
see still shots.
Yeah,
But the Alvin Ailey Company was in that film. They
yeah,
danced that number with her.
yeah,
It was
yes,
amazing.
yeah, amazing. So, any last thoughts? Any ways we can support you as we go forward into this new year?
Well, I just think that I will make several announcements. I'm right now putting fine tuning my podcast show, and we just finished the logo and what have you, and the music.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just got to script the 5 first episodes so I can do them. I always stay 5 ahead. And the
Mm-hmm.
first 5 will be the Disco Chronicles, and
Yeah,
every 5 following Felipe and the podcast. And every 5 shows, it'll be something else that I'm going to talk about. But I'm going to keep it light, refreshing,
yes,
pop culture, music, and of course, what I love to do is cook and food. So I'm still working on my cooking show, No Feathers in the Kitchen. The pilot is.
I love that. I love that.
And so I'm just right now, as you know very well, that when all of this started, I was in the position to help a lot of friends
Yeah,
with food and small donations and what have you, when all of this started in March, April, and May, and what have you. But you can only do but so much,
mm-hmm.
and then the rest is support, by just watching,
Yeah.
a small donation even. And I believe that we made the dancers, the
Oh,
thing
the
that
NYC.
the NYC, that's on my website,
Yeah.
FelipeRose.com. So, the thing is, again, when they just had with Tina Fey one night on Broadway, I mean, it wasn't a lot of money, but I made another small donation.
Mm-hmm.
My bookkeeper sent me an email and said, I'm doing your books for these last 3 months. I think you need to stop giving money away, Felipe. But the thing is that I don't look at it because I'm not going out and spending it by
Right.
going out and dining on it. So if I've got it to give, then I do. And I just said,
Amen.
well, I'm not doing thousands and thousands of dollars, but you're doing what you can.
Yes.
And I did some volunteer work. So no, what I need is just gratitude. I'm in gratitude. And what do I need? I just need nothing but love.
That's
You know,
right.
and I know that when I get ready to put stuff out, I know that my fans and friends on social media will jump out to support.
Absolutely.
And in order to get, you have to give. And
Okay.
so by giving and putting it out into the universe, it comes back to you the way it's come back to you.
Amen.
And like 3 months into into this show, you posted, I just hired myself. And I said, what? And you said, yes, I just hired myself with and I thought, well, just a great attitude to just say, I got this. I'm going to be okay. And
Yeah.
they got me through the year.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'll tell you that the year, and I think many of you out there will know this to be true, that the year, even though we were in and out of lockdown and this and that, the year flew.
It did.
It
It did.
really did.
Yes.
And and it's not like any of us were really moving around going anywhere. I haven't traveled in a year. I'm getting in March. I'm gonna bust out.
Okay.
I'm gonna get on a plane with a hazmat suit on. I'm going somewhere.
I know that's right.
So, Benny, here's to you, and thank you for having me on the show.
Relax with you.
And to everyone out there listening and watching, be safe, wear your mask, wash your hands. Vaccines are here. It's just a matter of time till everyone gets them, and and hopefully this thing can burn itself away. But take every opportunity to be joyful, be blessed, and be happy. That's all we have to do right now.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to say to you, thank you for coming back to my living room, Felipe. Thank you for all our conversations. More to come. Again, happy birthday to you. Tuesday, birthday, guys. And again, thank you for your patience with the earlier technical drama. And also, just want to shout out, thanks to people from the first bunch of shows I've done who have actually donated money to some of the artists and people that I've had on. I'm going to shout out Kate Hiltz. Because, and so just thank you. She has an amazing restaurant in Philly called The Tasty. So go visit her.
Yeah, I know it.
And so anyway, love you. This is our first show.
Alexander Walker and my new producer Tyler Safford is I think probably watching. Mm-hmm. But to everyone that supports danniGeeLive, I think it's just a beautiful show. It's so full of love and light. And it's just joyful like you.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. I'm trying, baby. So much has been given to me. I'm not rich, but I'm rich in love and spirit and friendships and family. And so there it is.
There it is, yeah. And the love comes from where you can get it. And you have lots of it.
I do. So I love you. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get on with my Friday night. Thank you all for tuning in. My guest next week, I'm super excited, is a tour de force, fierce female woman goddess, Jacque Morali.
Oh.
Okay, she is a divine inspiration being. She was one of the first multiple winners on the Apollo Amateur Night for her poetry. Poetry. So she's my guest next Friday, which is actually the birthday of Martin Luther King Jr.
Now we'll see. Yeah, will she actually be jumping in with some of her favorite films?
This is all about just her books, her publishing company, and so every Friday will be a little mix of something different. But as I always do, but she's just a force of nature, Jacque Morali. So more to come, more guests. Thank you for tuning in. If you missed any part of it, it'll be on my YouTube channel within the next 24 hours, danniGeeTV. And it'll also be here on IGTV. I'll be able to upload the interview. And thank you, Felipe. Happy birthday.
Love you guys. Happy New Year, everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy and blessed.
I love you.
Bye-bye.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. The great Felipe Rose. So thank you all again for joining. What a man. What a friend. So please support him. Follow him. Felipe Rose Official, I believe, is his new Instagram account. And he has some new music coming up. So that's it. My first show back in 2021. And give yourselves some love this weekend. This week was really crazy, but we are moving forward. Okay, we got Georgia. So have a great weekend, and I will see you next Friday with Jacque Morali. Mwah. Later.